Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by again. What's going on with these aquarium parameter tests? None of these colors look good, or is it? Let's discuss what's happening in this case. If you're not new to the hobby, bear with me for about a minute maybe. For all of those of you who don't understand the nitrogen cycle, it's very important to briefly talk about it in order to understand what's going on with the test tubes. Looking at this simple diagram, at 12 o'clock with the fish up there, fish food and fish waste and any uneaten food eventually is converted to ammonia, which is a waste product, and due to food and waste decomposition, there are sometimes two specific bacteria that will turn this ammonia into ammonia is very harmful to fish. It can kill them eventually, depending on the level. That is converted by some specific bacteria that are listed there. You can look further into that. And at 6 o'clock, we have nitrites. That's another nitrogen waste compound, less harmful to fish, but also harmful. Then we have another second set of bacteria that would turn that into nitrates. Nitrates can be harmful in very high level, but it doesn't kill the fish as it can the ammonia and nitrate levels. Then plants, if you have a planted tanks, a common component in fertilizers is nitrates, a form of nitrates. So then the nitrates can be consumed by the plants or by simply water changes, and then the cycle kind of starts all over again. In a nutshell, that is the nitrogen cycle. It's a way of converting waste to safe products. Hopefully that was not too boring or too long explaining it in a simple way. All right, so what's going on with these test results? Is it good? Is it bad? Again, as I said, the colors, none of them are normal, and that certainly is not a good thing. But at the same time, it's not a bad thing, and I'll explain further. Going from front to back, ammonia level is the first row at the front. Ammonia, a negative ammonia test will be a very pale yellow. Follow on the middle by nitrites. Nitrites, a negative test will give you a very pale, like a sky blue, light sky blue color negative. This is the purple there. And at the back is nitrates. Nitrates, again, it will be a pale yellow color when it's negative. This actually for the 90 gallon, it got almost a reddish color, which is extremely high. Now, what's going on with these tanks is the 90 gallon, on a previous video, I showed that this is a new setup. And the 60 gallon is also a new setup. I had previously done a new cabinet for the 60 gallon. I have moved all of the fish from the 60 to the 90 gallon temporarily. Once I set up the 60 gallon tank, which was now sanded, I move all those fish back. Now, once I move all the original fish from the 90 gallon temporary to now more permanent 60 gallon, all those fish minus about 15 or so Buenos Aires that I left them in the 90 gallon tank. Now, what I did was I took originally the FS6 Fluval filter. I put it on the 90 gallon, which was that filter was fully cycled. Now the new FX6 for the 60 gallon tank is uncycled. So what I did was I took half of the biological media from the 90 gallon and put it in the in the 60 gallon. Most people will say you take all media and the tank is instantly cycled, but as we can see from this test, obviously it's not cycled yet, or not so much that it's not cycled yet, but it cannot handle the fish load that both tanks have. So this is too much waste product for the bacteria to establish themselves and gradually change. So they need to gradually adapt to all that fish and to the bioload and convert the ammonia to nitrites, to nitrates. So basically what's going on here in these test tubes is actually two tanks that are actively cycling. The numbers, and not the numbers, but the test levels certainly are bad, but I would tell you how I'm dealing with that it is not harmful to the fish. the tank, the 90-gallon tank, initially I was getting a very dark green ammonia, which is very high. One of the things I've been doing is pretty much every 48 hours I've been adding safe or prime to the tank. We'll basically convert ammonia into still you're going to get a positive test for ammonia, but per CChem it will bind the ammonia, the harmful form, into another ammonia compound that is not harmful to fish, but that's only for 48 hours. So you have to read those prime or safe again. So basically prime, safe, or any other brand that you use. I personally use the CChem products, not endorsed by them. So the three parameters, the ammonia, the nitrites, and the nitrates, I will detoxify them temporarily. Nitrates, after this test, was followed by a water change. Now, a couple of days ago, the ammonia level on both tanks, on the 60 and the 90 gallon, were very high, very dark green. Now, the ammonia is barely detectable in the 90 gallon, which is showing now that the nitrite converting bacteria are a little slower, and they're beginning on both tanks to convert ammonia to nitrite, as you see in the middle tube. Also the cycle is further ongoing, is all going on at the same time. The nitrates are now positive, as you see in the last tube, in the back tube. So this is an ongoing process. So these tanks are actually the same thing would happen in a tank crash, where you would just have very high ammonia. You will not have any positive colors on the other tube, because there will not be enough bacteria to convert from ammonia to the other two compounds. That is either because some of these tanks were previously in treatment, and also the filters don't have enough of a bacteria load at this point in time to do its job. But for me, in this case, if I had only green and nothing else, this was obviously from a tank crash or a very new filter. In essence, what's going on here is that I'm doing these two tanks are in fish cycling, which is it's generally not a good thing, but in some situations you're forced to kind of do it. I did lose a couple of fish, probably a couple of more sensitive ones. There was a lot of change with setting up the tanks and the transfer from, stress of transfer from one place to the other. Definitely I lost probably one rose line, 3 rainbows, and on the 60 gallon I lost a couple of others, not many, but just maybe 2, maybe 3. But anyway, that's unfortunately is part of the course whenever you make any sudden changes. So in this case, for me, the colors are actually a very good thing, which is telling me that I have a very active tank, 2 tanks that are cycling as they should in a relatively short time. Again, the 90 has barely any ammonia. The 60 gallon one from being very dark green to the green that you currently see. Nitrites, I had no nitrates a couple of days ago. Then the next day I have nitrites, and then now they both are showing nitrates. So the bacteria are doing their job. One of the things that I'm assuring, again, is that I am adding every 48 hours safe. I using safe because powder form is less expensive. It'll go a bit longer, but you could use prime or any other brand product that you choose to use. The nitrites are again doing their job, and they're converting. So in my case, I am happy to see that the process is moving along as it should in a relatively fast time. Another thing that I'm doing is adding stability daily. Stability is live bacteria that would help the nitrogen cycle kind of speed it up by adding more bacteria to the tank, beneficial bacteria, to do their job and complete the cycle. I expect that this cycle, maybe in the next week, will be completely cycled. And again, I did put in new media on both, and they just need their time to do their job. Again, not for the pros, but for those of you who are new to the hobby, this is an ongoing process. You're not going to have ammonia and then that stops and then the other one, so it can all happen simultaneously. So you'll see one starts to disappearing once the bacteria have completely converted, but then again it will eventually, you will get O negative test when the nitrogen cycle is complete. This is a quick view of the 90-gallon tank. I'm adding plants and I'm still slowly setting it up gradually as I wait for some of them to arrive. As you can see, it's very likely an overstocked tank, but it has been doing well since I reset it up. And this is a quick view again of the 60-gallon tank. Again, some additional plants are being added that will help with the nitrates and also just get it to a point where visually will be better, and certainly plants are always healthy for the fish. A very brief look at the 20-gallon quarantine tank and 20-gallon grow out baby discus tank. These tanks have been going through treatments during the quarantine process and just precautionary for the baby discus, but they're just showing a little bit of ammonia, and that has not been an issue. This is the excuse the flex flying around. They've been fed recently. I have this beta in there, and this is a 20-gallon with roughly 17 baby discus. They are at about 6 months now. They're a little bit over a quarter size, the larger ones, for that one. And this is a new batch of fish that I got. These are the fish for the 120 discus tank, and a new beta. They're also being quarantined. They will stay in these tanks and keep these tanks active. I have about 5 beta male in the 20s and 10s there, so that's their permanent home for now. And this is again the baby discus tank. So I think this is all this is always interesting. I've done fish encycling many times, and it's generally not recommended because you can lose fish, but I've done it again many times and it has been successful. You just have to be mindful of adding the appropriate chemicals to keep your balance, and regular water changes, and just keeping an eye on your fish. If something looks wrong, do a water change, test, and continue the process. Thank you for watching the video. This is very important information in general if you keep fish. And again, thank you for watching, and thank you for those who have helped me get to 500 subscribers. Thank you very much to all. If you have not done so, please subscribe, share, like, and press the notification bell. Thank you for your support and visiting our channel.